The acacia tree is again an indigenous species to Africa. Its botanical name is Acacia Senegal. Acacia Senegal occurs widely over Africa. You can find it in the whole Sahelian belt. Sahelian means from the Sahel. The Sahel is the southern fringe of the Sahara, where the desert becomes savanna. And then, of course, deeper down to the south, it becomes rainforest. That's where it grows, from the West African coast right up to the East African coast and to the south. It even grows a bit on the Asian continent. You have some in India. Why is this a special tree? Firstly, it withstands extreme climatic circumstances of drought. It really is a species that is fully able to withstand climatic change, as is now happening in the world. Because it can even grow and produce what it has to produce in a rainfall as low as 300 millimeters of rain a year. It will even survive receiving 200 millimeters, or in an occasional year 0. It will not die. And why is this species now so interesting? It produces gum arabic. Gum arabic is a natural exudate from the stem. It's not always well known. Let me compare it to a rubber tree, where the rubber is tapped from the stem of the rubber tree. Yeah? Meaning, people make a wound, they cut a piece of the bark of the rubber tree, and the rubber oozes out. It's the same with Acacia Senegal. You do some cuts in the stem of these acacias, and it starts giving this gum arabic as a natural sap flow that becomes solid into contact with the air, and that can be harvested. Right now, I would say that the global annual consumption of gum arabic is about the global annual demand is about 100,000 tons, which cannot be completely satisfied by the existing production, which was at least, it fluctuates a lot, but at least for a year or so ago, it was hovering about 70,000 tons for that year. And it has wide commercial applications because it acts as a stabilizer, which means it can stabilize oily and watery substances that are mixed. This is because the unique chemical composition of the gum, which I can go into detail, but maybe I better do not do. And let me just say that oil can be, normally when you pour oil on water or other substances, it will separate. It will form a layer on top of the water. When you then shake it, it will mix again, and gum arabic will make sure that it stays like that, which gives it an enormous array of applications in the food industry, like soft drinks, Coca-Cola, even in dairy products like yogurt, flour, bread. It also has industrial applications in the print sector because it helps to stick ink to the paper. When you have an inkjet printer and you know how fast this can go, you want to have neat printed letters. Well, in all these cartridges, believe me, might be gum arabic. It also has a growing field of applications in the medical sector. It is used in the production of serum, blood serum, these little bags of artificial blood that are used in hospitals when people need more blood, they need an infusion, they have been operated. Gum arabic, again. It is also a diet-neutral food because when you eat gum arabic, or a product based on gum arabic, you will feel really satisfied and your belly is full. While in fact you haven't had anything of nutritional value. Meaning for a world that is increasingly becoming obese, which is almost like a disease, this is quite something. So there is an enormous range of application in which gum arabic can be used. An acacia that is exploited is, let's say, commercially something like 25 years. A tree which is freestanding in nature will grow longer. But then again, it is not yearly wounded in a certain way badly treated to get its gum. So we talk about 25 years. It will give its first gum at 3 years, though that is still a small amount. Let's say you can have smaller amounts of maybe 100, 200, 300 grams per tree. And that will quickly grow in the next years, so that by year 6, 7, you can have 2 kilogram to 2.5 kilogram per tree. And that stays then stable for a period of up to 20 years, after which it will start declining. Yeah, but still it will produce. It will still give its annual gum. But instead of 2.5 kg, you will go down, and by 25 years, you don't want to harvest anymore, and you're gonna replant. You're gonna cut the tree, and you're gonna plant another one.
And what is the market value of the gum arabica? Like, how much do you get for a kilo?
In its raw state, which is the gum being produced and cleaned, and eventually sorted in grade 1, grade 2. There's different grades because you understand, as natural product, it has pieces that are big. This is the grade 1. You have smaller pieces. You have powder. Yeah? So you have different grades. But for grade 1, raw, it fluctuates between the years here in East Africa to something like $2.5 per kilogram, which fluctuates. And these fluctuations are in fact a strange thing. The biggest producer of gum arabic is the Sudan. Over 50 and eventually 60% of the total global production of gum arabic comes out of the Sudan. And there have been in the Sudan years of drought, years of civil unrest, in which then suddenly the production of gum arabic goes down and almost stops. And this has been a problem with gum arabic production for quite some time. There is not always a stable supply on the world market, meaning also that if you are a producer and you can put enough gum aside as a buffer in these fluctuating years, you can make a killing, because then you're there and you have your gum while the others don't have. And of course, it has an influence on the price. These prices fluctuate, but that is the raw material. The real value, just like with the timber of the Melia volkensi, our mukau tree, is in the processing. You add value. The value you add in this case is through a process that is fairly simple. It is called spray drying, and this is what is industrially used to produce powdered milk. And you use the same equipment, in fact, so it can be bought. And this spray drying is now done in the Western world with only 3 existing plants in Africa. 2 in the Sudan, if I'm not mistaken, and 1 in Nigeria. And we, Better Globe Forestry, we will do this here locally in Kenya. And then the value really goes up. And according to insiders in the industry, you can multiply the value of the raw product by 6 to 8 times.